Michaels joins us now live with more alerts. Hey, Chris.
Hey there, Alyssa. Yeah, this just into the Weather Center. We now have a tornado warning that is in effect. Trying to get this camera to work for me. Unfortunately, is not. Marshall, if you could go over there and work with that for me. This tornado warning is in effect until 12:45. This is not for Brunswick County. We need to go to the west. We need to go to the west toward Roanoke County, toward parts of Bedford and Botetourt counties as well. Let's take it off of play mode if we can. It's messing up some reason with our camera view there, but if we can drag it, there we go. Zoom in there, and we've got this tornado warning that you see in that bright red. This is for areas like Vinton, for Roanoke City. This is also areas just like Bonsack and heading into Blue Ridge. This tornado warning in effect until 12:45. If we can, let's also remove the flash flood warning so we can just focus on one storm at a time. National Weather Service saying this is radar indicated, not necessarily confirmed at this time, but there it is again, especially for areas just east of Boone's Mill. This is Windy Gap Mountain, Windy Gap Road right there, 116 between Franklin County and Roanoke County. Portions of Vinton near Gus Nix Boulevard also under this warning until 12:45 here. So here we go. Let's get rid of the flash flood warning. And there you see the tornado warning that's in effect. Again, this does include Roanoke City at the current time. We're also going to take a look at velocity here and see what exactly the National Weather Service is warning based upon. So there we can see, again, right along Windy Gap Mountain Road is where we see some of the stronger winds. The green right here is the air that's going toward the radar site. The red is the air that's going away from it. So there you see that little bit of rotation right on Windy Gap Road 116, and that's going to continue to go closer to the Blue Ridge Parkway. For those of us at William Byrd High School, if we're around William Byrd High School, need to get into our safe spot here within the next little bit. It does look as though we've got some pretty strong winds regardless that are moving in that direction with this tornado warning. I do think the worst of this storm as far as the wind, as far as the rotation is concerned, I do think that is going to stay just a little bit farther to the east of downtown Roanoke. Let's go ahead and again show you that warning that's in effect. It's in effect until 12:45. So for the next 18 minutes or so, this includes extreme portions, extreme northern portions, I should say, of Franklin County, extreme western portions of Bedford County, gets slightly into Botetourt County, maybe toward Laymantown Road. Looks like it's just to the south and east of the back, and I believe there's an eye doctor across the street from there. We do have a sky cam, so let's go ahead and show that if we can to see if there's anything of substance, and that should be the Virginia Tech Carillion sky cam. So here we go. We're looking over downtown Roanoke, and this is why it's important to not necessarily try and look after one of these things. It's not going to be one of those Great Plains tornadoes that's easy to see, but if anything, if there is a tornado, it is certainly rain-wrapped, dealing with some tropical rain, as we mentioned before. Flash flood warning that's in effect until 6:15 for Roanoke City as well. So tornado warning, there it is until 12:45. And Marshall, I'll take it from here while you're getting ready over there. Let's see if we find any odd shapes in this particular storm. Not really seeing any kind of kidney or hook shape that we tend to see with these supercell or rotating thunderstorms, but we'll go back to the velocity here and see if there's any indication of rotation. Trying to zoom in a little bit, and it looks like it's giving me a little bit of a hard time. But yeah, so okay, let's go ahead. There we go. Thank you, Marshall. So yeah, you can kind of see this little bit of rotation right there behind me, and what I'll do, I'll take it from here just for a second. You can see the air that's going that way and a little bit of rotation just there. So this is to the east of Yellow Mountain Road. So if you were to think about some different landmarks in Roanoke, if you're thinking about Star Hill, Starbucks, and what is it, South 16 apartments, this is to the east of that. And it looks like it's really trying to go more toward Hardy Road. So the Dunkin' Donuts, the Kroger, places like that, closer to Vinton, looks like it's going a little bit farther east of downtown. So where Joe Goodpie's, the building for Joe Goodpie's, and I believe it's R&D Coffee, looks like it should be just a little bit farther to the east of that. But not one of the stronger signals that we've seen over the course of the day. Most of the rotation, if anything, has been a little bit farther to the south and to the east into parts of North Carolina. But I would also mention that if you're around Goodview Road, you can see that right behind me, that you should be monitoring this storm pretty closely. If you're just joining us right now, time is about 12:30. We've got this tornado warning that's in effect for the next 15 minutes or so. Radar indicated, not necessarily a confirmed tornado right now. In addition to that, areas just west of the tornado warning are under a flash flood warning until 6:15. Marshall, are you ready? Are you good? You mic'd up?
Yeah, we are. And okay. Just a little bit of extra information that the Weather Service is including the eastern part of the city in particular with the way that it's moving further towards the north. And we are going to still see this continuously until 12:45. So that's 15 minutes from now. And as we're continuing to monitor it as it's coming, most of it is, again, like Chris was saying, it's fairly light rotation right now. So we're kind of keeping an eye on it for the time being. The rain itself has been pretty heavy in the last little bit. In fact, right here over the station, we were hearing the rain coming down on the roof. So noticing plenty of that for right now. I'm going to show you the reflectivity as well. Let's talk about the safe spaces just in a second too. But I want to zoom in on what we're seeing for that rainfall rate. Lots of big reds and oranges right close to the city itself. And so whenever we get up into those reds, oranges, the really intense rain, bad enough on its own, we've got a flash flood warning on top of the tornado warning as well. That one lasts a lot longer. That one's going to go till 6:15. But remember, in about 15 minutes, this particular tornado warning is going to be reevaluated and see how it's moving on from that. That flash flood warning's been popping up here and there. So again, that one goes all the way until 6:15 for City of Roanoke and County of Roanoke. But the tornado warning includes parts of Bedford and Botetourt County and Franklin County as well. So it's a little bit more expansive. Want to go ahead and get to your safe place all across the area. And Chris, we are looking at a little bit of extra rainfall throughout some of the area, but this is the one that spawned the tornado warning for us right now.
Exactly, yeah. So this is the one where, again, the National Weather Service, as you mentioned, has seen a little bit of rotation as we've seen on our end. Also want to mention, if you're around Webster Road, around Colonial Elementary, you're going to want to get into your safe spot as well. This is a storm that's moving at about 30 miles per hour, and looking right about there, that's probably where we see that little bit of rotation. This is right on Roanoke city limits. So again, King Street, if you're thinking about Glade Creek Apartments, that's one of those places that you're going to want to be in your safe spot. I know sometimes that can be a little bit tough when you're talking about apartment buildings because you could be in a higher level, but you definitely want to get into a lower level there. Let's go ahead and show the velocity, see if there's anything that's really piquing our interest. I will say that the rotation was already fairly weak. It wasn't quite what it was as we were tracking some storms in North Carolina, but you do see just a little evidence of rotation, if I can kind of pick it out right there. And again, this is getting closer to the Bedford-Franklin County line, so kind of Stewartsville area, maybe Vinton as well, as we're getting close to 24, but not really seeing a whole lot of strong rotation. Nonetheless, this tornado warning is still in effect until 12:45. One of the other things I want to plot for you guys is the rainfall or the raindrop size, which it's been torrential rain for the past little bit in areas like Boone's Mill and in Roanoke, hence the flash flood warning that was just on the screen. But right now, it seems as though the rain intensity, while not completely letting up, is at least diminishing a little bit. Part of that has to do with the temperature difference. So Roanoke over the past little bit has seen temperatures rise by about 2 to 4 degrees, but you're not nearly as warm as maybe folks in Franklin or Henry counties, or especially not as warm as those of us in Southside, who are actually a little more favored for tornado development later today. So there you see, 12:45 is when this tornado warning expires. Go back to the velocity here, see if we can zoom in a little bit more. And this is kind of one of those things I was starting to notice when Jeff Hanowich has always talked to me about the shape of storms. And so sometimes you can kind of get this a little bit of like a kidney bean shape or a little bit of a hook. And you can kind of see that, again, as I was mentioning before, King Street, there's been a lot of road work there where the new Sheets is going. You've also got William Byrd High. Right around there is where we're seeing some of the strongest wind. But Marshall, I don't know if you're seeing this. Looks like the rotation's a little bit broader to me, and it is fairly weak. Not to say that it's non-existent or anything, but it does look to be a little broad, a little weak at the moment. Would you say so?
That's what I was thinking too. With that combo of reds and greens, there's certainly something there, but it is pretty broad right now. A lot of the times when we're looking at one of the more robust tornadoes like we were seeing in the past summer, it's a really tight pairing of bright greens and bright reds. So one of the things that's working in our benefit to have the tornado decrease in intensity, again, we're not towards that point yet, but one of the things that's keeping it a little bit calmer for right now is the fact that we've got fairly dull greens and dull reds for right now, and that they're not right next to each other. It's really broad areas of where the rotation is going on for right now. Now, this is pretty far west of where the tornado watch was issued earlier on today. It was trimmed back a little bit as we went through the first part of the day, and but it does go to show that tornado warnings can pop up anywhere that we have that same sort of convection and attachment. A lot of the actual activity we've been seeing in the earlier part of the day was further off towards the east, and there still have been storms in North Carolina and the eastern part of Virginia, and that's where it looks like we're going to have better development the rest of the day. There's a lot of cloud cover further towards the west and a lot of rain that's kind of acting to inhibit that, but we've had plenty of cloud cover and rain here in Roanoke, so it goes to show that we can get that activity going on if there are the right conditions lining up. The one spot that we're most interested for this afternoon with a lot of extra sunshine coming in is towards south side in the southern part of the Lynchburg zone. That's where we've got some pretty high dew points, so there's a lot of moisture going on already. You add to that a little bit of sunshine, you can get a little bit of lift going, and with a tropical system like this, it's already a lot of rotation. When a hurricane's coming through, it's always got that big spirally shape, and so there's plenty of rotating air, as opposed to when a cold front's coming through. A lot of times you'll have air rotating in a more horizontal direction, then it has to get lifted up by the air that's really warm and lifting through the air, just like when you're boiling water. It's the same process that's going on there. Now, taking a look at that flash flood warning, still going on until 6:15, so lots of water. Still really want to just stay in place for right now with the tornado warning and that flash flood warning. Be inside as soon as you can. Really don't want to be into a car right now, given that it's not a wonderful place to be for a tornado warning and for the flash flood warning itself. A lot of times injuries can happen because people think they can drive through a spot. But, Chris, it just doesn't really work out that way very often.
Exactly, yeah. And if we could, let's go ahead and take that flash flood warning off screen just so that we're not muddying up some of the communication here. So the flash flood warning is mostly for areas just west of this point. But you do see within this tornado warning this little bit of a shape. We have some cameras. We'll get to that in just a second. But because I'm seeing this little bit of a feature here, I do want to pay attention, see if there's been any strengthening in the winds or in the velocity here. So we do, again, as we kind of zoom in a little bit, the rotation is broad, but it is present, and it's right over Hardy Road. It's right over 24, so we can see that right here. Okay, new scan just came in. Looks like it's becoming a little messier, as if it wasn't already pretty messy. Some of the stronger winds, again, near King Street, near William Byrd, moving north of Hardy Road, moving north of Goodview Road. So this is now more or less a Bedford and Botetourt County storm. Not so much Roanoke City, even though the warning officially is for the city. It's more so as you get closer to places like Webster Road in Blue Ridge, also areas like William Byrd High. Now let's go ahead and take some of the cameras that we've got around the area to see how the ground truth has changed over a little bit. Here's the Virginia Tech Carillion Skycam, and you notice the visibility has improved dramatically just compared to about 5 minutes ago. So the worst of this storm is east of downtown Roanoke, as we were just mentioning, and it's a little bit closer to William Byrd High. Do we have another camera that we were going to show? So this is 581 South. Is this the Peters Creek exit where we had the wreck? Okay, so we do have details on this on WSLS.com. Not necessarily sure if this was weather-related, but it is a good and kind of sobering reminder that the weather can play a little bit of a role, especially in a day like today where the rain has at times been pretty tropical. Let's get back to the radar here, and I do want to again point out one of these features that we're noticing. And a lot of times when you're looking at tornado warned storms, you'll see that there's rotation right in this little hook, and you see that just to the east of downtown Roanoke. So if you're around Northside High School, I'm thinking, what is it? Don Ho's is the one restaurant there. There's Lou's Restaurant. I think you're in good shape as far as the rotational aspect of this. It's as you get closer to Blue Ridge, maybe as you get a little bit closer to Laymantown, there's the Food Lion, there's the whole Walmart and Lowe's and everything that's right along Orange Avenue. You're going to want to be in your safe spot right now, because you do see, again, I'll point it out to you, this little notch right here. And that oftentimes, when you look at the shape of storms, can be an indication of some rotation. What I'll do is see if there's any truth to that using velocity, and this is tracking basically the raindrops, the direction and the speed at which they're moving, and you see it's mostly the air that's moving from north to south on the west side of the storm, but a lot of the motion of these storms has been from south to north. So that's why, even though velocity or this image is not quite as impressive as what we might see with storms in, I don't know, Alabama, Kansas, Oklahoma, there is still some sign of rotation here with this warning that's in effect for the next 4 minutes. Has that been canceled or expired or anything like that, Marshall, or is it still going on?
Yeah, Weather Service is looking to expire it in the next little bit, so we do have good news coming our direction. Still technically does go until 12:45, so we're going to keep on tracking that until it does get taken care of. But even on this most recent scan of the rainfall, we do have a little bit weaker of that kidney bean shape. There's not quite that big green notch where the rainfall has decreased. A lot of times when we have that, it's because there's a lot of drier air that's making its way in from where the storm hasn't really passed through yet, and so that's where we get a lot of the air moving up. Meanwhile, a lot of the rain is falling out ahead of where the storm is moving mostly towards the north. Right now, it's kind of getting in its own way, so that's helping us out a little bit, but we still have that indication of some heavy rainfall towards our west. So still keeping an eye on it for right now, and we've still got plenty of rain through the rest of the day. We're going to stay pretty cloudy well on, and the rain isn't really going to be done with us until around midnight tonight. Plenty of it still with the system down towards the south, and seeing yellows and oranges still along the Carolina border. So we're going to make sure to keep you updated as the day continues. Again, most of that tornado threat is off towards the east at this point, but we've had that tornado warning in Roanoke itself today. So with the potential that we have in Southside, definitely keeping an eye on it for the next few hours, that 3 to 5 o'clock range when we get some extra heating coming in. Our rainfall is going to pick up a little bit, some places down towards the south where we hadn't had rain in the last little bit, but a lot of the actual storminess for the next hour or so is staying a little further towards our east. So that's some good news. Once this one starts to calm down, we're going to be a little bit better off. Do you think so, Chris?
I think so too, yeah. And actually, one of the things that's slightly encouraging is that this rain hasn't necessarily trained over the same areas like the National Weather Service maybe thought it would. So I'd like to take that flash flood warning off the screen. Not to say that it's illegitimate, because we've seen a lot of rain, as Marshall was mentioning, but this tornado warning is all but expired. The one thing I do want to kind of direct your attention to, and Marshall was starting to get to that, is that we have seen a break in the action in Southside, which you would think is a good thing. Oh, I've seen some sunshine. Great. Not necessarily, because you've got now air where the temperatures are in the 70s, where they're a little more conducive for some of these stronger, if not rotating storms to develop. So that's something over the next several hours that we'll have to keep an eye on. In fact, if I were to go ahead and plot this red box that you see here, ignore this stuff for right now. The red box that you see, Pittsylvania, Campbell, and Halifax counties, that's where we've got a tornado watch in effect until 3 p.m. This is something we first brought you on Virginia Today earlier this morning. So again, a reminder that a watch means that something is possible. A warning means it's likely, though. Again, with the less than 60 seconds left to this tornado warning, it does look as though it is going to expire. Certainly good news with that. Before it does so, however, I do want to go ahead and just kind of zoom in. I'll do that on this iPad rather. And yeah, any limited rotation that was present in the storm doesn't necessarily look like it is there at the current time. So good news as we get ready to expire this tornado warning within the next 30 seconds. Still be alert to some sporadic power outages maybe in Botetourt County as some of the winds get a little stronger with this particular storm. More rain off toward the west. That's in association with Nicole. None of that is really going to be severe or anything like that. In fact, the severe weather threat in the New River Valley is quite low. But as we get closer to areas like Southside, we may need to keep an eye on any kind of these scattered storms. You notice this one that was moving through the Roanoke Valley was pretty isolated. Any kind of those storms that do develop in Southside or even Lynchburg this afternoon could wind up spinning a little bit. So guys, with this warning expiring, you let me know what you want to do as far as the rest of the newscast is concerned. It looks like we're going to toss back to Alyssa right now.